Brightline isn't the only train service under the microscope. Why one service saw a huge jump in deaths on the tracks last year.
An Alston cop trying to get his freedom back. Why the man who killed Corey Jones has a chance to walk free.
And it's been cool all week, but a warm-up is underway. Why it's not all good news, though, for this weekend.
CBS 12 News starts now with breaking news.
We are following breaking news out of West Palm Beach. One person is dead and another is injured after a shooting near a grocery store and school.
CBS 12's Andrea Marvin is live at the scene gathering details. And Andrea, you learned that the shooting actually happened near a school.
Yeah, Linda, Palmview Elementary School is only a block away from where this deadly shooting happened. Take a look. You can see this is still a very active scene. Now, police tell us that 2 people were shot. One is dead, and we are still working on details as far as what had caused this. But yes, this is only 1 block away from an elementary school. Neighbors say after gunshots, they heard school staff come on the intercom and issue a code red.
I heard 7 to 8 shots, hard shots, heavy shots. They wouldn't look like cap pistols. It was like boom, 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 repeatedly. At that point in time, the kids was out on the playground, you can see from the hill, and I heard the school over the intercom announce a code red. At that point, children began running from the playground area back into the school.
Now, that woman also tells us that she knew the victim. She tells us that he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. She also tells us that this section of Sapodilla has had problems with violence in the past. But again, police are investigating this shooting. 2 people shot, 1 dead. And we can tell you a section of Palm Beach Lakes in Sapodilla is closed off to traffic. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Andrea Marvin, CBS 12 News.
And it's been very cold, even freezing for some nights here in South Florida.
But we're hearing some good news. A warm-up is underway. CBS 12 severe weather expert Jeff Baradelli has what you can expect this weekend, Jeff.
All right, so you started to feel it today. It was a bit more mild. It wasn't warm yet. It wasn't above normal, but we'll be getting close to normal as we head into the weekend. But with that said, with the mild air, we also have some moisture moving in. That's our next weather maker. It's an area of low pressure. It will switch our winds, and eventually some of that moisture in the form of showers will likely move in for the second half of the weekend. Storm track Doppler radar right now couldn't be much quieter. There's not much out there. There may be a stray sprinkle tonight. For the most part, though, it'll be just a little cool-ish, not nearly as cold and dry. So if you have outdoor plans, it should be fine. 58 degrees in Fort Pierce. Sweater weather, though, tonight. 62 in Jupiter, 66 right now in Boca Raton. So overnight tonight in Palm Beach County, along the coast at least, we're only getting down to about 60 degrees, and then we'll just stay there. Inland areas, though, will be about 50 to 55. So a little cooler to the north and to the west. Coming up in minutes, we'll talk about those changes for the weekend. Again, some rain will be moving in. We'll have the timing on that and a stronger front for next week.
You're simply no match for tons of steel bearing down on you, whether it's a Brightline train, a freight train, an Amtrak train, or a Tri-Rail train going whatever speed. You're not going to survive that.
Brightline officials meeting with city leaders to address calls for a safety check on trains. This after 2 people died on the tracks in less than a week. Lawmakers across Florida are saying that the safety of the high-speed rail may be in question. But Brightline isn't the only train that's a danger on the tracks. In 2017, Tri-Rail killed 17 people between Miami and Mangonia Park. That's more than they've killed in the last 5 years. And Tri-Rail is soon looking to ride the same rails that Brightline occupies today. CBS 12's Michael Butchner investigates. He joins us now live in downtown West Palm Beach with Tri-Rail's plan to connect the coast. Michael?
Yeah, we can tell you this is still years away from possibly happening, but Tri-Rail is working and hoping to get on these same tracks that Brightline is using. What does this mean for everyone? Well, of course, another option for transportation, but it also means that these tracks could be extremely busy. A familiar face could soon join Brightline on these tracks. Tri-Rail hopes to roll out its Coastal Link service on the very same set of FEC tracks.
It would mirror our existing service on the South Florida rail corridor on the western tracks.
Palm Beach County Commissioner Stephen Abrams, who's also the chairman of the South Florida Regional Transportation Authority, says the train service is years away from rolling out. The authority, he says, is waiting for permission to access the railway. It's a plan that includes more than 24 stops from Jupiter to Miami along the Eastern Rail Corridor. That in turn would mean more train traffic. But Abrams says it won't increase the risks, despite Brightline trains killing 2 people just this week on that very same stretch of railway.
On the western tracks where we run 50 trains a day. Amtrak runs several long trains a day, and CSX runs freight. So it's an urban corridor, and we're able to make it work.
Any concerns about having so much train activity through the heart of your city?
I think it's a concern. We need to make sure that we're taking additional safety measures.
Delray Beach Commissioner Mitch Katz says he welcomes the idea of Coastal Link, but worries about other trains blowing through his community.
I'm more concerned with the high-speed trains going through. The Coastal Link is going to stop, so it's not going to be coming through at 80 miles an hour.
And back out live, Brightline train passing by on these tracks again. Just to reiterate, this is years away from happening, but if it comes to life, we've learned that there could be as many as 50 trains a day utilizing these tracks along with Brightline. Of course, we'll stay on top of the story. For now, we're live in downtown West Palm Beach. Michael Butchner, CBS 12 News.
Stranger danger. Parents are on edge since the release of this video showing a man threatening children if they don't get into his car. Now the parents of one of those kids are speaking out.
And our kids are just, walking sometimes thinking that it's, safe, that we live in a safe city, but I'm scared.
While parents are worried about the safety of their children, experts tell us these kids did it right. CBS 12's Mike Magnoli is live in Boynton Beach with why these children should be a catalyst for kids dealing with child luring in the future. Mike?
Well, Liz, they did some things right and they did some things wrong, and that's why we wanted to do this story. So they didn't run away right away, and they stopped long enough to talk to this guy, and the Center for Missing and Exploited Children says you never want to engage in a conversation.
Especially for younger kids, all we want them to do is get away. You don't get close to the car, you don't get into the car, you don't engage in conversation with the person.
Nancy McBride is Executive Director for Outreach for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and she's seen the cell phone video of an incident last week in West Boynton Beach at the intersection of Lyons Road and Boynton Beach Boulevard. The kids recorded the man in his silver four-door sedan offering candy, telling them to get in, and he's still out there. Mind you, this was broad daylight in a very public area.
We've done a study of these attempted abductions, and I will tell you factually what we found out. We've looked at 13,000 of them over like a 10-year period. The majority of these attempts happen when kids are going to and from school or a school-related event.
Nancy says in today's day and age, parents might be having talks about the rights and wrongs on the internet and with camera phones, the cyber world, but Florida is where one of the most notorious and tragic child abductions took place. 6-year-old Adam Walsh, and it was his case and Father John Walsh that led to the creation of the center.
The dangers aren't only on the internet. The real world risks are still out there, especially going to and from school. That's prime time.
And the center says, take this opportunity to have a conversation with your kids. The bad guys use 5 tricks to try to get you into the car. They'll say that they have candy, money, a puppy. They might say that there's an emergency, mom and dad sent me, or they might say that they're lost and they need directions. If they do that, you run away, you get away as fast as you can. We're coming to you from West Boynton Beach tonight. I'm Mike Magnoli, CBS 12 News.
Self-defense, that's the claim coming from Newman Raja, the former Palm Beach Gardens cop accused of killing Corey Jones. His family responds tonight. They sent a statement saying in part, Officer Raja shot an unarmed man who asked for help from those who were supposed to protect him and come to his aid. The announcement is an absolute insult to our family. So what are the chances Raja's argument holds credence? CBS 12's Chuck Weber spoke with a legal expert who explains the stand your ground defense. Chuck?
Well, Linda, in the killing of Corey Jones, former officer Newman Raja has always claimed self-defense. So now in his new motion to dismiss the case based on the state's stand your ground law, this is essentially one more chance for Raja to beat the charges. The family of fallen musician Corey Jones will likely head back to court sooner than expected. The attorney for former Palm Beach Gardens officer Newman Raja filed this motion, asking the state to toss out the case based on the state's stand your ground law. Raja's attorney, Richard Lubin, calls it a classic case of self-defense. He writes, Officer Raja faced a man who pointed a gun at him. He defended himself.
I don't know that it changes the ball game at all. It's an appropriate thing for his attorney, Richard Lubin, to have filed.
Veteran criminal defense attorney Greg Lerman. Raja is charged with manslaughter and attempted murder. Corey Jones's car broke down on an I-95 off-ramp at PGA Boulevard. Raja, working undercover in an unmarked vehicle, said when he approached Jones, he pointed a gun at him. This is Raja speaking to investigators.
The second I said police, he jumped back, and I clearly remember him drawing and pointing a gun at me. I saw that silver muzzle.
Raja said he feared for his life and shot Jones.
Unfortunately, the only person that can speak for the decedent is the state attorney's office, quite honestly.
And state attorney's investigators said Jones's recorded call to roadside assistant and Raja's call to dispatch show Raja lied about what happened.
A lot of it's going to rely on Officer Raja's credibility.
Changes to the state's stand your ground law now put the burden on prosecutors to prove that the use of force was not justified. And even if the judge rejects this stand your ground motion and the case goes to trial, the attorney there says it's still possible there could be an April trial, as is now scheduled. Live in West Palm Beach, Chuck Weber, CBS 12 News.
And breaking right now, a traffic jam on the turnpike near Palm City. We just learned all southbound lanes are now open. One northbound lane has been reopened, and this is near mile marker 131. The sheriff's office tells us a septic tank rolled over after it blew a tire. There is a reported injury, but no word yet on the extent. Of course, avoid that area if possible.
We are just hours away from a possible government shutdown, and no deal is in place. President Trump spoke with Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer, but still no deal. The House passed its own version of an aversion bill last night, but right now the Senate hasn't even voted yet. If a bill can't be passed, then the government will shut down at midnight tonight. Because of the impending shutdown, President Trump's trip to Palm Beach is on hold. The president was set to touch down at PBIA just after 7 p.m., but now he may not come at all. It's just a few minutes ago, the White House budget director told reporters President Trump is not leaving Washington, D.C. until a funding deal is reached. He is expected to host a gala at his Mar-a-Lago club to celebrate his inauguration a year ago. That's supposed to be tomorrow night. But despite President Trump's trip here being in the air, the roadblocks are not. Police on Palm Beach say all roadblocks around Mar-a-Lago will remain in effect until further notice. One airline is making it harder for your service pet to help you in flight. What they are now making you do before Fido makes his way onto the tarmac.
And the New York Mets made a big decision on Tim Tebow's future today. Will we be seeing him in St. Lucie County this spring?
And we are tracking milder air, but also lots of moisture near Texas. Some of that's headed our way for the weekend. We'll have the timing on the rain coming up.